Hello, yeah, potheads. So, I'm using my normal stream setup for this, just to make it easier for editing purposes. But I want to quickly try and make a video on looking through the Druid and Paladin playtesting. From what I've seen on Twitter and what I've heard. It's absolutely sucks so hard that I don't think I want to play 1D&D in the slightest. But that's why playtesting exists, so they can fix it. So hopefully they fix it. But we're actually going to go look at it. Alright, so what's new? Druid. The Druid class and Circle of the Moon subclass are ready for playtesting here. Paladin. The Paladin class and Oath Devotion subclass are ready for playtesting here. By the way, I'm gonna try to abridge this as much as possible. Several revised feats appear here for your feedback. More spells are ready for playtesting with a focus on smite spells. The rules glossary has been updated again and supersedes the glossary in the previous Unheard of Arcana articles in this document. Alright. Power level, the character options you read here might be more or less powerful than options in the 2014 Player's Handbook. If a design survives playtesting, we adjust the power that's desirable. Feedback, whatever. This is playtest material, it's not official. Revised versions of every class. Did a bunch of shit. They're going over rules of how classes work, which I don't think there's going to be much difference there. Like, there shouldn't be. Each character class is a member of a class group. A set of classes that have certain features and themes in common. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like bunching. I don't like that. So the point of having a class is to feel unique, right? So like if your class is like, well, it's this class, but it's slightly different, then that class doesn't feel unique. Like, yeah, there's plenty of things you could do to make your character feel unique on like, thematic things and flavor things and certain feats that you take and which subclass you take. Like there are things. It's not as expansive as Pathfinder, but Pathfinder is confusing and also, depending on the builds, classes can also be like other classes. But anyway, we're not talking about that right now. I don't like that they are bunching classes together in that way. It doesn't feel right. A class group. So there's experts called Bard, Rangers, Rogues. So they're expert in a certain thing. Mages are magic people. Priests is divine magic. And warriors are specifically combat. Artificer is also an expert. The class appears in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. It seems like they're still trying to use 5e material, but trying to make a new rule set. Like they're trying to change 5e, but so it's almost like 5.5e. I don't think they're trying to make a new edition here. I think they're just trying to make a virtual tabletop and then just changing the rules to make it work for modern play. All classes have new features and like I get why they like did class groups, like why they talked about it, but I feel like that's like a slippery slope of grouping things together opposed to it being as unique as possible. I could have gone on that rant for nothing. Maybe they talked about it in the Player's Handbook of 5e and I just never saw it because I just went right past that. Druids! Primary ability is wisdom. Druids, backstory stuff. Druids are also concerned with the delegate. You can whatever. Channel nature, druidic spellcasting nature's A, druid spell subclass at 3rd. As you do, A feat at 4th, because they're doing feats now, not doing ability improvement scores, which, or is it still one or the other, and they're just saying feat? I think they're. I didn't read the other stuff. Now that I think about it, Might of the Land subclass feature aquatic form specifically, feat aerial form. Subclass feature tiny critter at 11th. Now this one's dumb, but we'll get to that. We'll get to all that. Standard druids, standard making character shit. We don't have to go through all. Channel nature. That's how you do your stuff. Wild shape. This is where they fucked up. As a magic action. You transform into a form you learn. You start knowing one form animal of land, which is detailed in the wild shape section later in this class description. You stay in that form for a number of hours, equal to half your druid level, or until you use wild shape again. You have the incapacitated condition or die. You can also end wild shape early as a bonus action. While in this form, the game's stance is replace yours and your ability to handle objects is determined by the form's limbs rather than your own. You retain your personality, memories, ability to speak, and wild shape. You lose access to all other features, such as ability to cast spells. When you transform, you choose whether your equipment falls on the ground in your space or emerges into your new form. Why the fuck would you want your stuff to fall? For example, as a 4th level druid, you can prepare 3 different 0 level spells, 4 different 1st level spells at that. First level druidic, druidic, the secret language of the druids, level 1 spellcasting. You got Cure Wounds, Druidcraft, Reduce Flame, Thunderwave. Alternatively, you can prepare 2 0 level spells. Nature's Aid. You learn 2 more ways to use your channel nature. Healing Blossoms and Wild Companion, each of which is described below. Healing Blossoms as a magic action, opposed to... I guess attack action and magic action makes sense. I feel like that's redundant. Just as an action. You can use an action. I don't know why we have to specify attack or magic action. They're both an action. You channel healing energy that appears as a blooming flowers. Choose a point within 30 feet of yourself, and special flowers appear from a moment in a 10-foot radius sphere center on the point. Then roll a number of d4s equal to your wisdom modifier. Add the dice together, the total number of hit points you can distribute to creatures in that sphere. I kind of like that. That is nice, making druids a little more healy than they were before. Which I guess you gotta give them something when you fuck them in other aspects. But, I like that. That is a cool, I feel like instead of it, that could have also been easily a 1st level or 2nd level spell. But since, it is a feature, so, it levels up with you. So, that's actually kind of cool. Yeah, I'm not against Healing Blossoms. Nature healing. You can summon a nature... So, Wild Companion, you can summon a nature spirit that assumes an animal form to aid you as a magic action. You can expend a use of your channel nature and cast a Find Familiar spell without material components. Alright, so it's basically a reflavor of Find Familiar. Cool. I'm okay with that. Druid subclass. You gain the Circle of the Moon subclass or another Druid subclass of your choice. The Circle of the Moon is detailed in the Druid subclass description. So, Circle of the Moon is now going to be their default. Hey, this is the one you should use. I know that's the one that most people like. It's it is kind of the most OP one in 5e. If that's what you're going for, if you like your wild shape. Or they're just saying that because that's the one they're focusing on in this document. Grants you special abilities at certain druid levels. You gain ability score improvement feat or another feat of your choice. Okay, so ability score improvement is a feat. Now they're considering it. Is it just so they could shorten words? Probably. Might of the land. Your connection to the land depends on empowering the animal land form of your wild shaped. You unlock the form climb speed and multi-attack. Okay, I'm understanding what these forms are now. Subclass feature, you gain Druid subclass. You learn a new form of your wild shape, Animal of the Sea, which is described in the wild shapes. You get feet, you get aerial form, subclass Tiny Critter. Now, this is stupid. The fact that you can't turn into a mouse until 11th level is actually stupid. And you can do no longer than 10 minutes in the form. How? Okay. Wizards. Explain to me why it's so detrimental to be tiny. Is your thought process that, like, oh, well, you're making your form into something that's smaller, so you're more condensed, meaning you have to concentrate on more? That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, tiny creatures don't have a CR. Like, their CR is like 1/16. Like, they have 1 health. Like, I know, like, from what I've heard, your health is now different. Like, your health is still your health. You don't have the health of the animal, which is another thing that ruins druids completely. And why would you choose a druid? Just for the flavor of nature magic, and oh yeah, I could turn into a horse, sure, or a land animal, and then I just flavor it as a horse because there's no fucking difference anymore. But anyway, we're not to that part yet. Tiny creature though, at 11th level, tiny creatures for me, I have my players, like, if they choose a druid, that tiny creature is so insignificant when it comes to how much that you're expending. Personally, I don't even have them spend a wild shape to become a mouse or a small bird. Yeah, does that kind of break it a little bit? Sure. They're a little bit more sneaky now sometimes. But they're the only one, unless if you have a whole group of druids. But then I'm gonna make the combat scenarios a lot more different if they happen to go that route. But the rest of your team can't be mice, so the mouse person still has to figure out what they're gonna do once they do their thing, and create scenarios to make that work. You know, as a good DM should. I really don't like Tiny Critter being 11th level. I don't even have them spend a wild shape, let alone having 11th level. Ruined. Alternating forms. You can now rapidly shift between a wild shape form and your normal form. If you're in a wild shape form, you can switch to your normal form as a bonus action. Weren't you able to do that before? Or was it always an action at 5e? I'm gonna have to double check on that, but I feel like this was already a thing just naturally. Like, wild shape is a bonus action. That's how I've always ran it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is an action. But why would it be a 13th level ability? That should be innate. That should just be a bonus action. Like, that's what you are. You are a shape changer. That's kind of what you do. Like, you should be able to do that well. I don't know why it's a 13th level feature. What? And again, I could be wrong. It could just be an action no matter what in 5e, but that's not how I run it. But I mean, I could be running against rules as written. But I feel like it should be just an innate ability that it's just automatically a bonus action. That just makes sense to me. Subclass feature, Wild Resurgence. When you use your wild shape, primal magic radiates from you, allowing you to use Healing Blossoms as part of the same use of Channel Nature. Okay, that's kind of cool. I'll admit that. You can cast spells in any wild shape form. While in such form, you can perform whatever. Oh, be able to cast spells in your wild shape form. Cool. When you roll initiative, you regain 1 use of your channel nature. Not bad. Feat, epic boon. Alright, normal stuff there. This area right here is kind of trash, and then we're going to talk about why this is also trash. But we'll get to there where we get there. Alright, wild shapes. So, so you have choice of 3 stat blocks. You could be an animal of the land, animal of the sea, or animal of the sky. You gain these. You get 1 at 5th, you get 7th, and then you get 9th. So no matter what you change into, you're always going to be an animal of the land if you choose to be a land animal. Same thing with sky and sea. Now this is probably a way to try to even simplify 5e to complete bare bones nothing. Because it's like, oh, well, instead of trying to choose which animal you want to be and what CR it can be, just choose one of these. You get 3 choices, and then you can flavor it however you want. But the thing is here. Let me get close to you real quick. The thing here is, right? That takes away creativity. Let me take off my glasses so you can see my eyes. That takes away creativity. That being able to choose what animal is right for each job is kind of the part of the wild shape. Do you want to be a horse that has low health but has a lot of speed so you could travel faster, or you could pull this carriage? Bam, be a riding horse or be a war horse. Do you want to be something that could hit well? Be a tiger, be a panther. Do you want to be a faster sky animal, or do you want to be a slower sky animal? Like, yeah, it takes a little more work in order to look through and be like, okay, well, which animal do I want to be? But if you're a good player, because not only there needs to be good DMs, there needs to be good players. If you're a good player, you'd research this, or you'd have your favorites. You'd be like, okay, I know what I want, so I'm going to make sure I know what these are, so I can always turn to the page, or I'll have the stat copied down, or I'll have the tab open. However you play the game. I play on PC, or like a video game. No, I always use my laptop, and I have all my information on my laptop. Easy, boom, bam, boom, bam. But however you write the notes, like, it changes the dynamic. If you just say, I'm going to transform into this land animal, the stats are always the same, though. That stifles creativity. And the last thing you want from a tabletop role-playing game is to take away creativity. Like, just being able to flavor something in your head doesn't make it a better choice one way or another. I flavor things all the time. Like, I enjoy flavoring spells, or, flavoring weapons, or flavoring whatever. But not at the cost of, creativity and stats. That's like saying, well, all sharp blades are now a D8 damage. Short sword, long sword, claymore. If it's sharp, it does D8. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, yeah, it helps the flavor, but it doesn't help you choose what weapon you want to use. Like, it's just like it's you're dumbing it down, and I don't like that choice. Like, being able to choose, like, even just all the land animals that you could choose, being able to choose which ones that you want to use in a specific situation. Let's say tiny creature, like, specifically, you like in 5e you use a wild shape. Like, do you want to be able to attack something right now, or do you want to be able to sneak because your body is an inch by inch? Like this, it takes away player choice. Being able to choose a electric eel opposed to a dolphin if you're gonna go aquatic. Like both of these creatures are very different stats, but now you're lumping them in. They're both sea creatures. That takes away creativity, I think. All right, let's go back to it. Circle of the Moon. Druids in the Circle of the Moon draw on the magic of the moon, transform themselves. Changeable as the moon, a Druid of the Circle might prowl the Great Night. Combat Wild Shape. You have learned magical techniques that allow you to transform quickly to channel magic. Aberration spells. While you're in Wild Shape form, you can cast any spell you currently have prepared from the Aberration School. That's very specific. I don't know why. Provided spell doesn't require material component. Quick attack, you can use an unarmed strike as a bonus action. That's kind of cool. Swift transformation, you can use your wild shape as a bonus action. Alright, so if you're Circle of the Moon, you get the bonus action anyway. But then, level 13, you get bonus action wild shape. So if you choose Circle of the Moon subclass, 13th level is fucking useless because you already have the ability to transform using a bonus action instead of an action at 3rd level. But then at 13th level you could still do that. That kind of like choosing Circle of the Moon screws up your 13th level. It makes that level up. Yeah, like you still get, health level up and possibly spells. I haven't, I don't remember if you do get more spell slots at 13th. You probably do. But your heavy abilities contradict each other. So then, if you choose one, then it negates the other, but they're both happening at the same time. Like, you can't avoid it. So, it's just redundant. Elemental Wild Shape, channeling ancient lunar magic. You imbue your wild shape forms with the power of elemental planes. You could do acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder. You have resistance to that chosen type. You choose between types when you... and the form's Bestial Strike can deal damage of that type rather than its normal type, with you choosing between the types when you hit. So, what the fuck does that mean? I'm actually confused. And the form's Bestial Strike can deal damage of that type rather than its normal type. So instead of doing slashing, you would choose acid, cold, fire. I feel like that. I mean, that is good for if enemies have vulnerabilities. If you give any enemies fucking vulnerabilities, but you don't. You just give them resistances instead. But I feel like that isn't as much of a upgrade as you think it is. I think it should be added. You should do you're now an elemental that has, let's say you have claws, but you also have fire claws. You should be able to do slashing and then fire. There are uncommon magical weapons that do an extra D6 fire or lightning or whatever. But you can't do that in your wild shape. Choosing one or the other. This man. Yeah, Druid got nerfed. Druid got nerfed hard. I don't like it. There are some cool stuff, but no. Oh, no. You have to wait till your 10th level in order for it to be both. You either choose one or the other, but at 10th level, you gain extra damage. At 17th, it's 2d6. I'm glad I'm able to do, you know, a barbarian could get an axe at level 1 that does 2d6. But Druid has to wait till level 10 in order for that to happen. Or Druid could just use an axe. Like, I get it. It's not their specialty to be a melee character. But if you're going to give them the ability, give them that ability sooner. Like, why? Like, 10th level seems a little bit late for me to be able to add 1d6 damage. Like, at that point, the Barbarian's dealing out 50 damage per hit. But yet, oh, now I'm going to be able to do 11 damage instead of 4? Oh, thank you. Slight hyperbole on both ends, you know, under and over, but you get what I'm saying. Like, what's the point of me doing melee then if I'm not going to be able to, like, actually be useful with my melee attacks until 10th level, where I get an extra d6 on top of an unarmed strike on my elemental. Like, that should be innate to the elemental form, where you get the unarmed strike and the attack afterwards. I feel like 10th level giving you that is kind of useless. Not useless, but it doesn't feel like an upgrade at 10th level. That feels like, if anything, like a 5th or 6th level, if you're gonna, you know, do that at all. Again, it should just be innate, but 1,000 forms. You have learned to use lunar magic to alter your physical form in immeasurable ways. You always have the alter self spell prepared, and you can cast it without expending a spell slot. It does not count against the number of spells you have prepared. Okay, so you basically become a changeling at 14th level. Or you could just be a changeling druid. And if you happen to be a changeling druid, then that's useless. But if you're not a changeling druid, then that's cool. I mean, maybe that's worth 14th level. I feel like it'd be a little bit less, but maybe it is. I mean, that could be kind of nice. Now, I know I like skipped through some stuff. I did not run into the part where people were talking about your health is not, well, yeah, your health doesn't change. Like, even if I didn't see it here, you don't have health because it's just these stats. So yeah, so okay, that's another part. Come closer. So that's another, like, benefit of being a druid and being able to wild shape, is the fact that you can tank hits, because, like, you use the hit points of that creature before you use your own. Like, the trade-off is not being able to use spells, right? Like, you either be what this animal is and your features that go along with that, or you could be range and beat spells. It's a choice. But now you're making it into, like, well, you are a druid who could transform into an animal. Any animal, we don't give a shit. Same stat block, but any animal. And then you essentially just lose your weapons. Like, why would I want to shape change if all I do is lose my weapons? Like, what would be the point of doing the shape change if I could have, like, a decent weapon and just use my spells from afar? Shape change is useless. The only thing that, like the only thing is, like, being able to fly or swim. Like, those are the good things about shape change. But when it comes to combat, it changes nothing, unless if you are going to change it to a creature that can fight in the air or fight in the sea. Like, I see that's like the only benefit, though. Like, not being able to tank hits, kind of ruins the whole, like, a big part of the shape change. And let's say neither of those things are applicable. You know, you're in a dungeon and you can only be a land creature to be, you know, worth a damn in the first place. If you're gonna wild shape, what's the benefit? What's the benefit into wild shaping if I replace my stats with the stat block you see on, you know, in the book, and then nothing else? There is no benefit. I'd much rather just be in my, you know, in my humanoid form opposed to a shape change. That makes no sense. Like, it nerfs it to the point where you don't want to use it. Like, yeah, land, like, sea and air, like, at least there's some sort of benefit. But even then, you're still slowed down by your teammates. Like, you have to go alone. Unless if they also have abilities, but, like, how many of your team is gonna have a 40 swim speed, like, innate? Like, they're probably not. Somebody's not. And then it's like, oh well, what if, you know, they get potions or other magical items that allow you to do that? Like, and like the whole team gets it. All right, then, so the whole team can now swim. So now we go back to the point of what the fuck is the point of changing into an animal if everybody just has a magic item that allows you to do the same exact thing? So it's either you have to go in alone and leave people behind, or everybody else is the same as you, but with all their weapons. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It completely ruins shape change as a whole. I don't like it. I'm not a fan. They completely ruined Druids with how they did this. There's no reason. There's no reason to do this. Like, I would choose a completely different circle that has something that's worth a damn. Like, fucking, like, wildfire. Like, I could have an elemental friend with my shape change instead. That's already infinitely more useful than any of this. Alright, Paladins. Lay on hand, spellcast, divine spite, fighting style. It seems like a lot of it is the same. Lay on hands, that's a paladin thing. Spellcasting, duh. Divine smite. When you strike a target, divine smite, immediately you get to expend one spell slot to deal radiant damage. It's 2d8 for the first level, d8 the same shit. But here's the nerf. They did nerf this, and this part I could kind of see. I could kind of see why they did this nerf. You can divine smite no more than once during a turn, and you can't use it on the same turn that you cast a spell. Now, same turn as cast a spell, that's kind of going a little bit too far. But being able to only use it once per turn, I get it. Because if you, like, you know, if you're able to hit, you know, if you have an extra attack, and let's say you get an extra attack and you're hasted, that's 3 times you could expend a smite. Like, yeah, you're wasting your slot, so it is a risk reward. So I still am fine with the original, like, you could divine smite whenever the hell you want. As long as you hit, you could divine smite. But I could see where they're coming from with this one. What they did with the Druid, like, only like 20% of that, I think, was like good changes or like good in general. The rest of it, they ruined Druids in this. That, I can see where they're coming from. Like, it is a nerf. It's a big nerf. I feel like everybody's just getting nerfs, which I don't think is how you should do it. I think you need to just change the mechanics slightly in order to make everybody's abilities more useful, and maybe a little for people to actually use the abilities in creative ways instead of just taking the power away. I don't like... It seems like 1D&D is just nerfing everything to make it easier for newer players, especially if you have a shit DM that doesn't know how to make encounters, which again that's on the DM part. That shouldn't be in the mechanic part. But then, and what, to make the game harder? I don't get it. Like, you're contradicting your own. Like, you're trying to make things easier for players, but also you're nerfing all the abilities to make it harder for them at the same time. So, like, I get where they're coming from, but I just don't like the fact that everything is a nerf. Fighting style, channel divinity, Paladin subclass, ability score improvement, extra attack, Faithful Steed. You get the Find Steed spell. I don't know. I don't remember if that is... I don't think that's a Paladin feature. I'm pretty sure it's not. Like, in 5e. I've never seen a Paladin use it, so I don't think it is. But if it is, that's kind of cool. I don't know what this replaces. I mean, you get both of these at 5th level, so I guess it didn't replace anything. So if that's a totally new feature, I kind of like that. Having the ethereal steed, sure, fine, cool. Subclass feature, sure, whatever. Or protection, you radiate protective, invisible aura that extends 10 feet from you, right, but it doesn't extend through the total cover. Well, that sucks. You and your allies in the aura gain a bonus to saving throws equal to your charisma. Okay, that's the same. Feat, abjure foes. That is a magic action. It's different than an attack action. You gotta be clear. You can expend one use of your channel divinity to overwhelm foes with divine awe. You present your holy symbol or weapon. You can target a number of creatures equal to a charisma modifier that you can see within 6 feet. Each target must make a wisdom saving throw. On the fail save, the target has the dazed or frightened condition for 1 minute or until it takes damage. I feel like this is a Paladin feature. I've never actually personally played the Paladin. I've just ran with Paladins. But this sounds familiar. I don't know if I'm just thinking of a spell that Paladins get, or if it's actually a feature. But either way, sure. Subclass feature, Radiant Strikes. When you hit a target with an attack roll using a simple martial weapon, the target takes extra radiant damage. That's fine, cool. Makes sense. Aura of Courage. You and your allies are immune to the frightened condition while you're dead. If a frightened ally enters the area, the condition is suppressed while the ally is there. Alright, take Courage. Taking away Frightened. Can't get frightened. I'm about it. Subclass feature, bam, restoring touch. When you use lay on hatch on the creature, you can also remove one or more of the following conditions. I'm pretty sure that's already a normal feat. I'm fine with that. I don't remember if it's 50th level or not, but that's fine. Or expansion, your aura of protection now extends 30 feet. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I feel like that could be a lower feat, but sure. Divine Conduit. Whenever you roll initiative, you regain one use of this class's channel divinity. I don't know if that's worth 18th level. I feel like that should be a lower level, but sure. And feat, Epic Boon. Standard 1D&D stuff with the Epic Boon, which I do like. The fact that they're using Epic Boon instead of whatever level 20 features are in the 5e, because those kind of fucking suck. And we're talking about Oath of Devotion. You got Oath Spells. You got Sacred Weapon. Which casts a special type of weapon, which I'm fine with. Smite of Protection. Your Divine Smite now radiates protective energy that allows you and your allies to stay in the fight. Whenever you use a Divine Smite, choose yourself or an ally within 30 feet of yourself. The chosen creature gains temporary hit points equal to 1d8 plus the spell level, or the level of the spell slot used. Okay, I'm fine with that. Aura of Devotion. You and your allies are immune to the charm condition. Cool. Holy Nimbus, as a bonus action, you can imbue your aura of protection with holy power. The aura gains the following benefits for 1 minute. You do radiant damage and sunlight. Why would you do that instead of smite? I mean, I guess it... Whenever an enemy starts its turn in the aura... How big is the aura? Oh, it's the aura of protection. So it's... Okay, it's 10 feet around you. Radiant damage equal to your proficiency bonus plus your charisma modifier. The aura is filled with a bright light that is sunlight. Okay. Okay, that's not bad. That's not a bad feature. I'm okay with it. And then there's your spell list. Alright, so the Paladin stuff, outside of the smite, seems to be about the same shit. So, like, hardly any changes to the Paladin outside of the smite thing. There could be more, but I'm not going to really read into it. It seems all about the same. Maybe some mixed around. Some slight changes. The Paladin doesn't seem too bad. But what did you do to Druids? No. Like, that's what most of this is. I've been recording for 42 minutes. And most of that was about Druids. Like, 2/3 of this is about Druids. Because they fucked up my boys. My boys and gals and everything in between. They fucked them up. Bitches and bros and non-binary hoes. I don't like the changes to the Druids. Like, there were a couple cool things, but if the Druid stays close to that, like, I would not play a Druid if I played 1D&D rules in general. I think I would just stick with 5e rules Druid, or just 5e in general, because all 1D&D has been doing has been nerfing, and like I don't know why they keep it's up to the DM to be able to work with whatever is made. Like yeah, if the players get, you know, a bunch of different magic items and have like powerful allies and stuff like that they could use, like, yeah, things can get broken, but that's the DM's fault. That's not the game's fault, or the module's fault, depending on if you're playing through a module or a homebrew campaign. But I don't think any of the classes need to be nerfed per se. I think because that's on the DM. Like, yeah, so like let's say your paladin's taking out vampires left and right. Okay, well now you're fighting a iron golem. So your smite, yeah, you'll get extra smite damage, but they're not vulnerable. Also, they take half damage on anything that's bludgeoning. Bludgeoning or slashing or whatever, you know? The DM is supposed to throw things at you that are a challenge. I don't think you nerfing all the classes like you do is going to change that. I don't understand the Druid. I don't understand the Druid stuff. You made Wild Shape useless. You made Wild Shape almost useless in combat or any situation ever, because the Druid can't do anything special with those shapes. Like, yeah, there are some, you know, certain things, and you can become a little more of a powerhouse, sure. Or they have special abilities, but only in highly specific situations, which I guess kind of is Druid too, but it just takes away creativity. Like, and also a tiny creature at 11th? Like, I don't know, your D&D shouldn't be stifling creativity. It should promote creativity, and you're taking away that. Like, you're letting everything be flavor instead of, you know, me choosing a warhorse over a panther because the warhorse is faster and can carry more weight. Like, I want to be able to make that choice opposed to it all being under one stat block. I don't get it. I don't get the choices. So that's my review of the Unearthed Arcana playtest of the Player's Handbook for 1D&D, Druid, and Paladin. Long video because it's just me going through a document and me talking shit about it. But that's my opinion. My opinion is Paladin is still nerfed, but largely the same. Unless if I miss something, like, tell me if I miss something, or like, no, they fucked this up, or whatever. And then they did Druids dirty, where you don't even want to play a Druid. Like, I would not want to play a Druid. After knowing what a Druid can do in 5e, and then switching to this, I'd be like, I'm gonna play a Wizard instead, or whatever. Can I flavor my Wizard to be Nature Wizard? And they'd be like, sure, cool. Like, yeah, I don't get Wild Shape, but I could Polymorph. And Polymorph has infinite more uses. Is that the reason why you nerfed Druid? So you get Polymorph could be more useful, even though Polymorph could be on other people, so it already makes it more useful than Wild Shape, because Wild Shape could only be on yourself. I don't know. I'm trying to solve the Da Vinci Code here with why they did Druid so dirty. Anyway, if you like this, I'm just gonna keep on talking if I just don't shut myself up. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more from me, subscribe. And look down below or my channel for all the other extra stuff. Follow me on all the medias and all the links or Discord. And until next time, bye.